Welcome back to another deep dive. We are incredibly glad you decided to join us today.
Yeah, really excited for this one.
Imagine, if you will, the last time you had to make a massive, high-stakes life decision.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was figuring out where to move,
Yeah.
deciding where to invest your savings, or just trying to, I don't know, trying to understand a completely new city.
Which is always stressful.
Always.
Yeah.
And if you've ever found yourself staring at a computer screen, completely paralyzed by the sheer volume of chaotic information out there, you are going to find today's focus really, really relevant.
It really is a universally frustrating experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, today we are looking at a platform that serves as a fascinating case study in how information systems are evolving to solve that exact modern crisis of cognitive overload.
Right.
And we're looking at this specifically within a very complex, very high-stakes environment, urban development and real estate.
Exactly. So our target for this deep dive is a newly launched 2026 digital ecosystem called Wikimontreal.ca. And the mission for our conversation today is to explore how this specific platform acts as almost like a strategic shortcut.
A cheat code, really.
Yeah, a cheat code. It's built to help you understand the incredibly dense greater Montreal real estate market, but the mechanics of how it completely bypasses the usual clutter, that is what's truly compelling here.
Absolutely.
And we are pulling all our insights today from a stack of provided sources, which includes a highly detailed strategic PDF analysis of the platform's ecosystem, as well as the actual HTML source code.
Right, the wrong content.
Yeah, content pulled straight from the wikimontreal.ca website.
And those sources are incredibly revealing.
They really are.
They don't just show us a list of web pages or a standard sitemap. They actually reveal the architectural blueprint of a platform that is attempting to fundamentally rethink how people process real estate data, urban planning concepts, neighborhood analysis, basically trying to do all of that without short-circuiting your brain.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if you are anything like me, the very phrase real estate and urban development market probably makes your eyes glaze over just a little bit.
Oh, totally.
If you've ever tried to navigate these spaces as a novice or even just as a busy professional pressed for time, it is incredibly overwhelming.
It's dense.
You usually just want to know if a neighborhood is a good fit for your lifestyle.
Right?
And instead, you end up drowning in zoning jargon.
Fragmented property listing.
Yeah, and websites just cluttered with pop-up ads for mortgage brokers.
It's the worst. But what's fascinating here is how Wikimontreal.ca's primary architecture is explicitly engineered to combat that exact feeling of overwhelm. According to the strategic PDF analysis in our sources, it's not meant to be a traditional sprawling website.
Right, that was super interesting.
The designers actually position the main landing area as a strategic single page. The documents literally refer to it as a menu pivot.
A menu pivot. I like the sound of that. But mechanically, how does that actually work? Because when I hear single page, I immediately picture one of those endless scrolling landing pages.
Oh, right.
That just becomes a messy directory of 1,000 links. Doesn't that just consolidate the clutter rather than eliminating it?
Well, that is exactly the pitfall they're trying to avoid.
Okay.
To explain how they bypass that, the platform's source material uses a very specific metaphor. It explicitly positions the main site as the orchestra conductor.
An orchestra conductor.
Yeah, or in the original French used in the documents, the chef d'orchestre.
An orchestra conductor for data.
Precisely. Because behind this main page, there is an immense complexity. Over 1,000 pages of content spread across a broader network.
Wow.
But the role of the conductor isn't to play every instrument for you at the same time. That would just be noise.
Yeah, cacophony.
Exactly. The conductor's job is to distill all that down into one direct, intuitive gateway. It points to exactly where the music needs to come from at the exact right moment, based entirely on the user's immediate need.
So if you're the user, this is structured specifically to help you when you don't even know the right technical questions to ask.
Yes.
If you're looking into moving to the greater Montreal area, you probably don't know the local terminology for urban transit developments.
Right.
And you certainly don't know the specific zoning districts. But this conductor approach supposedly guides you instantly to the right resources without making you learn the industry jargon first.
Exactly. And the primary way it directs that traffic is by acknowledging a major psychological hurdle in real estate.
Which is?
The difference between researching a lifestyle and executing a transaction.
Ah, right.
The strategic documents show that Wikimontreal.ca takes this massive web of information and splits the user's journey into a core duality.
Mm-hmm.
It funnels the visitor into two perfectly complementary paths.
Okay, so they separate knowing a neighborhood from actually buying into it.
Yes,
Let's look at path one first, because this seems foundational.
it is.
The HTML sources identify this path as wikiresidence.ca, which they describe as the encyclopedic resource.
Yeah, the encyclopedic site is where the deep, granular database lives. The PDF analysis notes that this section provides coverage of 42 to 45 different districts and sectors across the region.
That's massive.
It's huge. And within those districts, it details over 500 specific residential complexes.
Wow.
But the way it frames this data is what sets it apart. It isn't just a sterile list of buildings and construction dates.
Right. I was looking at the HTML content for this section, and the level of detail is really striking. It focuses heavily on the tangible benefits of living in a specific territory. It details all the essential services so you can actually picture your daily routine.
Yes.
You get the proximity to schools, the locations of fire stations, educational spaces, parks. It even explicitly notes that it maps out the local dog parks.
Which is a brilliant detail.
It really is.
Because when you're trying to understand the vibe or the livability of a community,
Yeah.
knowing where the dog parks are often tells you more about the daily foot traffic and the neighborhood culture than a zoning map ever could.
Completely. It's painting a complete picture of your potential daily life. But eventually, if you like the neighborhood, you have to look at the actual inventory.
Right, you need to see what's for sale.
Which brings us to path 2 in this duality. If WikiResidence is the encyclopedic resource, then the sources identify iResidence.ca as the transactional resource. How does this side operate?
Well, the sources note that iResidence is accessed primarily via an interactive map interface, and the claim they make here is massive.
Okay.
The strategic documents state that iResidence provides direct access to 100% of current real estate listings in the area.
Wait, 100%?
100%.
That means both for sale and for rent.
Both for sale and for rent, from all brokers and all agencies, without exception.
That's wild.
The documents are very firm on that point. It's a fully comprehensive feed of the market. Plus, the HTML highlights that it features unique search tools designed specifically to integrate with the territorial data we just talked about.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Offering an encyclopedic breakdown of 45 districts, plus managing a database of 100% of real estate listings from every broker, and doing it all completely for free.
Yeah.
Which the documents emphasize multiple times. There's usually a catch there.
Right. Nothing is really free.
Exactly. How is this platform managing all that without just bombarding users with targeted ads or selling their attention to the highest bidder?
That is the crucial question, and it speaks to their underlying business model.
Okay.
The platform's positioning statement in the source material is highly specific on this point. They declare that they are not simple broadcasters of advertisements. They frame themselves as analysts.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because if they aren't just an ad delivery system, they have to be providing a different kind of value.
Right.
The sources indicate they want to explain the why and the how behind the market trends.
Okay.
They aren't just showing you a house for sale. They're trying to explain why that house is priced the way it is and what the neighborhood will look like in 5 years.
They want a prompt, deep reflection from the visitor.
Yeah.
And to achieve this analytical depth, the ecosystem actually relies on two additional specialized platforms.
Okay.
These two platforms, alongside the main Wikimontreal Conductor Hub and the WikiResidence database, complete a 4-site ecosystem.
Let's break down those two additional arms, because this is where we see how they actually generate that analytical content. First, we have their media arm, which the sources call Infodrone.ca.
Right.
The PDF describes this as the hub for hot news and current events. And the mechanics of how they populate this are fascinating. The documents mention it features an AI that is constantly on the lookout to generate nearly daily updates.
It's an automated curation system.
Yeah.
The AI is scraping and analyzing urban news, tracking developments, and synthesizing that into consumable updates.
Wow.
The HTML even references a specific recap from the end of February 2026. So you have a constant real-time pulse on the city's urban evolution, driven entirely by artificial intelligence.
But real-time news is only half the battle. If you're looking at long-term trends, you need historical context.
You do.
And that brings us to the fourth component of the ecosystem, the library, or in French, la librairie.
Right. So if Infodrone is the daily pulse, the library is the deep archive. The strategic analysis outlines that this center features semi-annual historical reports. It includes highly specialized territorial search filters.
Okay.
And notably, it also provides access to podcasts referred to in the documents as balados.
Wallados, right.
Yeah, and these are highly specific to the individual territories the user might be researching.
The volume of content they're producing through these platforms is staggering.
Yeah.
The sources give us a specific, quantifiable statistic for the year 2026. This ecosystem has published over 300 distinct articles and dossiers this year alone.
That is massive.
It is a massive repository of analytical content designed solely to help a user decode the greater Montreal area.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, all of this content, the 300 articles, the historical reports, the daily AI news updates, it isn't just a random assortment of blog posts.
Right.
The strategic PDF outlines that every piece of information is strictly organized around 4 strategic pillars.
Okay.
And the document uses a very bold phrase here. It claims these 4 pillars are meant to redraw the map of Montreal.
Okay, redrawing the map is a big claim.
It is.
Let's walk through these 4 pillars to understand exactly what kind of framework they're imposing on this data. What is pillar number 1?
Pillar number 1 is major projects. This involves the rigorous ongoing tracking of massive urban developments and specifically analyzing their direct economic impact on local land value.
The sources specifically name the RM as a prime example here.
Yes.
For anyone not familiar with Montreal's infrastructure, the REM, or Réseau Express Metropolitan, is the city's massive new automated light rail network.
Right.
So under this pillar, if you're looking at a property, the platform isn't just telling you the price. It's tracking how the construction of a new REM station nearby is going to alter the value of that land over the next decade.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It turns infrastructure news into actionable real estate intelligence.
That's smart.
Moving to the second pillar, we have urbanism concepts. This focuses on decoding the micro-level evolution of different neighborhoods.
Okay.
How is the zoning changing? What kinds of businesses are moving in? It tracks the shifting identity of a sector over time.
Which leads perfectly into the third pillar, ecological concepts.
Yes.
Now, reading through the sources, this one really stood out to me because of how pragmatic it is.
It really is.
Usually when urban planning sites talk about ecology, it's framed around global sustainability or carbon footprints. But the PDF explicitly states that this platform looks at environmental sustainability strictly through the lens of property value and durability.
It is a radically pragmatic approach. They're analyzing ecology as an economic factor.
Yeah.
They aren't necessarily evaluating a green roof for its environmental purity. They're evaluating how that green roof or how a property's placement in a potential flood zone impacts the 10-year resale value and the insurance premiums of the building.
That makes so much sense.
It's ecology translated into personal finance.
That is a very specific, highly targeted way to curate information for a buyer.
It is.
And finally, the fourth pillar is key territories, which is dedicated to identifying strategic high-value opportunities across the map. And speaking of the map, the sources list out the territories they cover, and the scale is vast.
It truly covers the entire metropolitan footprint.
For our listeners who might not have a map of Quebec in front of them right now, the sources rattle off an incredibly diverse list.
Yeah.
The interactive tools integrate data from Ahuntsic in the north,
Right.
Beaconsfield out in the suburban West Island,
Mm-hmm.
Brossard, across the river on the South Shore, right into the dense urban core with Le Plateau, Myland, NDG, and the historic Wikimontreal.
And to make sense of all those disparate territories, the documents show that they layer in the entire transit circulatory system of the region.
Right. The HTML mentions several transit layers, EXO, the STM Metro, and the REM.
Yes.
So to translate that architecture, they map out the STM, which is Montreal's traditional underground metro subway system.
Right.
They layer that alongside EXO, which handles the commuter trains connecting those outer suburbs like Beaconsfield. And then they integrate the new REM light rail we mentioned earlier. It essentially allows a user to instantly visualize how a neighborhood 30 kilometers away connects to the downtown core.
It is a massively complex web of data integration.
Yeah.
But looking closely at the source material, this brings us to a rather fascinating paradox at the very heart of the platform's design.
Yes, the paradox between the machine and the human. On one hand, you have a platform that is vast, comprehensive, and proudly driven by automation.
Right.
The strategic PDF explicitly states that the whole ecosystem is managed by AI.
Yes.
The artificial intelligence is what delivers immediate, customized content based exactly on the points of interest manifested by the user. It is the ultimate expression of digital efficiency.
But on the other hand, despite all this algorithmic heavy lifting, the platform makes a very distinct, incredibly traditional promise to the user.
Right.
The sources highlight that, beyond the digital tools, they offer dedicated personal assistants.
You really do.
They provide actual human advice for your real estate processing.
They aren't just an anonymous digital cloud hovering over a server farm. The HTML actually lists a physical headquarters.
Yes, an actual address.
They are located at 50 Rue Berlioz, Suite 1703, on Île-aux-Cerises, which is Nuns Island, just south of the city center. The site provides a phone number, it provides an email, there are actual physical people standing behind the AI.
And that is a deliberate architectural choice. It is the synthesis of AI efficiency and human empathy.
Yeah.
They're using artificial intelligence to do what it does best: manage the massive, overwhelming flow of data. The AI handles the 100% of property listings. It scrapes the daily news for Infodrone. It organizes the 45 districts.
Right.
But they deliberately retain the human element for the final mile of the journey.
Because when you're actually ready to sign a mortgage or uproot your family to move to Broussard or Mile End, an algorithm can't hold your hand.
Exactly.
When you need help interpreting what that data actually means for your own personal life, the platform promises that a human expert will be there to advise you.
Which is why this serves as such a compelling model for how we interact with complex information.
Yeah.
It democratizes expert knowledge. It takes the kind of strategic, multi-layered analysis that used to be strictly reserved for high-level real estate developers or city planners.
Right, like the tracking of light rail construction,
Historical property value.
or localized ecological durability.
All of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it freely accessible to any curious learner.
So what does this all mean?
Yeah.
Ultimately, the sources show us that Wikimontreal.ca is acting as a master blueprint. It takes an incredibly intimidating, jargon-heavy real estate market and turns it into an accessible, deeply informative ecosystem. By acting as the orchestra conductor, it separates the process of learning about a community from the stress of buying into it.
Exactly.
It gives you the AI tools to sort through the noise, but backs it up with human expertise when it matters most.
This raises an important question, though.
Oh.
As we look at the evolution of platforms like this in 2026, we see a digital ecosystem that successfully uses AI to perfectly merge hard transactional financial data with the incredibly granular human details of a neighborhood.
Right down to mapping out the local dog park.
Exactly. But if digital platforms can now instantly and perfectly quantify both the exact financial value and the precise day-to-day livability of a community,
Yeah.
will our future decisions about where to put down roots be driven more by algorithmic matches than our own human intuition?
Wow.
Are we moving toward a future where we outsource the feeling of home entirely to an AI's perfect calculations?
That is a brilliant and slightly unsettling point to end on, and exactly the kind of question we love to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Wikimontreal.ca ecosystem and the future of information curation.
It's been great.
We hope it gave you some fascinating insights into how data, artificial intelligence, and our urban spaces are merging. Keep exploring, keep questioning the world around you, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.